next time, always read 18, because here, one of the three men is Yahweh, and he eats human food. You got to know this. Here, let's look at it. Then Yahweh appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, while he was sitting at the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked. Behold, three men were standing nearby. Three men he saw, and he ran from the tent door to meet them. And he bowed himself to the earth, and he said, my Lord. Now, again, here's where people get confused. The word my Lord doesn't mean he recognized they were heavenly beings, that it was Yahweh and two angels, because it was the custom. This is a fact. It was the ancient custom that when strangers visit your city and you're the judge of the city, that you would go and be polite and invoke them to stay and show them hospitality. Because at this point, Abraham still doesn't know who these three men are. He doesn't know. Later, he's going to figure it out. So don't be confused. And how do I know this? Because if you go to Genesis 19, which I'll show you in a minute, verses 1 to 3, when the two men showed up, were angels, Lot did not know they were angels. And he did the same thing. He bowed to them and called them my Lord. And he goes, come and stay with me. Let me give you hospitality. This was ancient Near Eastern custom. Like when Jacob bowed before Esau, or Abraham bowed before the Canaanites. This was what we call an Oriental, ancient Near Eastern custom to show respect. And when you were the judge of a place, a ruler, like Lot, who was at the city gate, and this is confirmed by archaeology. Don't take my word for it. Get a good commentary with the archaeological background confirming this. Those who stood at the gates were the judges and rulers of the city, and they would go at the gate because that's where you would know to find a judge to then bring your complaints or legal problems to. You understand? In ancient Near Eastern cultures, cities had gates, walls and gates, and you would go and meet with the judges and rulers for legal matters, for issues affecting societal life. You would go there because that's where they would be waiting. So that's why, if you read Genesis 19, Lot is by the gate because he's a ruler. That signifies he's one of the rulers, judges of Sodom and Gomorrah. And part of his responsibility was to entertain guests and show them hospitality, lest they have a very bad view of the city. Let me show you all this right here. Right here. Because if you read the narrative, he doesn't know they're angels. That's why when the men come to want to then do something to them, right, grape them, he says, no, take my daughters, because he didn't know they're angels. Had he known they're angels, he would let the angels have Adam. But then the angels blind them, then he realized, oh man, these guys are not merely human. Then the two angels came to Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. You see it? Does everyone understand ancient Near Eastern culture? The gates of the cities where the rulers and judges would wait to either entertain strangers, show them hospitality, or to preside over cases. But now notice, he doesn't know who they are. Lot saw them, rose to meet them, and bowed down with his face to the ground. Same thing Abraham did. And he said, now behold, my lords, please turn aside into your servant's house and spend the night. Wash your feet, then you may rise early and go on your way. So you notice, showing hospitality like Abraham is doing.
Right.
They said, however, no, but we shall spend the night in the square. Yet he pressed them strongly, so they turned aside to him and entered his house. And he made a feast for them, just like Abraham, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, from young to old, all the people from every quarter. And they called to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them. Do something to them. But Lot went out to them at the doorway and shut the door behind them and said, please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. Now, behold, I have two daughters who have known no man. Please let me bring them out to you and do to them what is good in your eyes. Only do nothing to these men as much they have come under the shelter of my roof. Now, if Lot knew they were angels, why is he trying to protect them? Does Lot need to protect angels?
No.
So what does that tell you up to this point?
That he thought they were men.
Yeah, and because it was his duty to make sure no harm came to them or he'd be ashamed, he was willing to even sacrifice his daughters for them. You understand?
I do.
You see, because the most shameful thing you can do, is to fail in protecting your guests and providing hospitality. If they come under your care, it's your responsibility to make sure they're safe and taken care of. You with me there? If you
Yes.
know they're angels, the most stupid thing he can do is try to protect them. Why do angels need Lot to protect? Because he didn't know. But then the men who wanted to gang grape them said, "Get out of our way. You, a stranger, came here. Now you're acting like you are our judge. Now we will treat you more wickedly than them." So they pressed hard against Lot and stepped up to break the door. Now the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, from small to great, so that they wearied themselves trying to find the doorway. Now he found out these men were not mere men. Wow. Wow. So you're actually angels? Yes. Why are you here? To save you from destruction, because we're going to destroy this place.
Yep.
What's the point I'm trying to show everyone? This custom of bowing down to the ground in front of other humans was an ancient Near Eastern Oriental custom. It wasn't worship. It was simply showing honor and respect to people of importance or guests, and calling them my lords is like calling someone sir today.
Right.
Right? Okay, now, with that said, let's go back to Abraham. Abraham does not know who they are yet, and I'm going to prove it to you. Then Yahweh appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, three men were standing nearby. He saw and ran from the tent door to meet them. Because remember, this is how you show hospitality. If there are strangers coming visiting your place, then you show them hospitality by taking them in, providing food and lodging. Because if you fail to do that, you'd be considered an ungracious host or judge, and people would speak ill of you and your city, village, or town. So bow down to the earth, said, "My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by." Isn't that what Lot said?
Yeah, you did.
Right here. "Now behold, my lords, please turn aside into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way." And Lot didn't know they're angels yet. Okay, now let's go. "Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread that you may refresh your hearts. After that, you may pass on." Now, wait, if he knew this was God, why is he saying after it, now you can go on your way? What does this imply? If you're God and you're visiting me, well, I'm going to say, all right, after I feed you, you can go on your merry way to your next destination.
Oh yeah. So no, he thought they were human.
Aha. So he still doesn't know who they are, but he's being hospitable. Hospitality. Okay, now, then he finds out, wow, these are not ordinary men. So what do they say to him? And they said, "So you shall do as you have said." They don't know they're coming to give him the promise. He's going to be a father, because Sarah's going to give him a son, and they're going to destroy Sodom. He doesn't know that yet. They haven't had the conversation yet. Follow the flow. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, "Hurry, prepare 3 seahs of fine flour, knead it, and make bread cakes." Abraham also ran to the herd and took a tender and choice calf and gave it to his young man, and he hurried to prepare it. Then he took curds and milk and the calf which he had prepared, placed it before them, and he was standing by them under the tree. They ate. Now, here's where everyone should be blown away if you're reading this for the first time. The 3 men are God and 2 angels, but they're eating human food. God just ate a calf, ate curds, and drank milk. God is eating food and he's drinking milk,
Wow.
because one of the 3 men is who?
Yahweh.
Aha.
The anthropomorphic side of Yahweh, which is Jesus.
And I'm going to show you how this anthropomorphic display of God, where God appears as a man who has a human body, who needs to travel, needs to rest, have his feet washed from the dust of the sandals, and eat human food to be refreshed, will be a picture of the incarnation. Let me show you how. You ready? God is appearing as a man, and he's assuming human limitations and doing what humans do with a human body: eating, drinking, resting. Now, he's not an actual man. He didn't become human. He didn't become flesh, right? But he's
Right.
appearing in human form with a human body that's so real that you touch it, it feels like it's an actual physical body. And in that human form manifestation, he can eat food like the angels. Angels are not men. They don't have a physical body of flesh and blood. They're not human by nature, right?
Right.
Because you don't believe that God has always been incarnating himself. That only happened once, right?
Right.
So these angels and God can assume a human form where they look human. And when you touch their bodies, it feels like an actual physical body, tangible. And in those bodies can eat and drink. But they're not human by nature. They didn't become flesh by nature. They can assume such forms that are tangible. So God is eating curds and a calf and drinking milk. Okay, now let's go. Then they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" And he said, "They're in the tent." Now they disclose their identity. And he said, "I will surely return to you at this time next year. And behold, Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Now he gets it. Oh my goodness, this is my God. And Sarah was listening at the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age. Sarah was past childbearing. And Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I am worn out, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? I'm too old. I've never been able to get pregnant. And my master's too old to get me pregnant." Now notice who's speaking. Yahweh said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I indeed bear a son when I am so old? Is anything too difficult for Yahweh? At the appointed time, I will return to you at this time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Then Sarah denied it, however, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. And he said, "No, but you did laugh." Wait, so who's speaking now? See it?
Yeah, Yahweh, yeah.
So you sure it's Yahweh speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But brother, that means Yahweh just ate human food.
Yes. And wrestled too.
Yeah, that was the angel of Yahweh, who is Jesus in his premium existence. But here it doesn't say angel of Yahweh; it says Yahweh,
Right.
because they can these heretics can get away with it, saying, "Oh, the angel of Yahweh is just an agent." But here, it's not an angel of Yahweh; it's Yahweh,
Great point.
right? Because whenever you go to a text where it's angel of Yahweh, yeah, he's an agent. He's not really God. He's acting in the place of God. That's why this passage is a nightmare, because it doesn't say the angel of Yahweh said. No, Yahweh said. Yahweh
Bam!
said.
That is awesome.
So you got to understand the context and hammer the context. We see how much time it's taken us to unpack it. But now follow me, because now it's going to get juicier for you. So we were here. Yahweh said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too difficult for Yahweh?" Aha, now watch here. Remember, 3 men showed up, right, guys? 3 men.
Yep.
Yahweh appeared. Didn't say angel of Yahweh?
Nope.
Yahweh appeared, right? But he saw 3 men. All right. One of the 3 is definitely Yahweh. 3 men. Okay. Then the men rose up from there and looked down toward Sodom. Look down toward Sodom. Notice they have to go down. And Abraham was walking with them to send them off. Now Yahweh said, "Shall I conceal from Abraham what I'm about to do? Since Abraham will surely become a great and mighty nation, and in him all the nations of the earth will be blessed. For I've known him, so that he may command his children and his household after me, that they keep the way of Yahweh to do righteousness and justice, so that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham what he has spoken about him." So Yahweh said, not an angel of Yahweh, Yahweh said, pay attention, guys. Okay. Yahweh said, "The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is exceedingly grave. I will go down now. I, who's I? Yahweh. And see whether they have done entirely according to its outcry, which has come to me. And if not, I will know." Now, guys, here's where you're going to put on your thinking hats and do a little math. Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, while Abraham was still standing before Yahweh. Now, if we are right that one of the 3 men is Yahweh, those 3 men appeared. One of them is Yahweh. Okay, 3
Right.
men. One of them is Yahweh. But then we're told in Genesis 18:22, the men went to Sodom, but Abraham and Yahweh remained standing face to face. If Yahweh is one of the three men, that means initially only two men would have shown up in Sodom, right? Initially.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Well, let's see how many showed up. Genesis 19. Then the two angels came to Sodom. Where's the third one?
The other one's Yahweh. So he's
If one of the three men is Yahweh and he remained behind, that means two would have shown up initially before Yahweh joined them. Well, that's exactly what Genesis 19 says. Only two of the men showed up, and those two are called angels. So where was the third man? Hold on, if you guys missed it, there was a third man. Where was the third man? He was there. He was left behind. Three men, he was left behind. Why? Because Abraham held them up. You got it now?
I do. Wow, that is so amazing. Wow.
Now, just to make sure that now Abraham realized this man right here that stood before me, ate food and drank and had feet washed that was so tangible that it feels like an actual physical body. That's Yahweh, my God. Because look, then Abraham came near and said, will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within a city. Will you indeed sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to put to death the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked are treated alike. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do justice? Any doubt this is Yahweh?
No, no doubt at all.
And if you want proof it's Yahweh, who responds? So Yahweh said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare the whole place on their account. Notice it's Yahweh who can forgive you or punish you, and he's the judge of the earth. So Yahweh's responding. So Abraham now knows this is no ordinary man. This is Yahweh, my God. And Abraham answered and said, now again, if it was still doubtful that he's talking to God, now behold, I have ventured to speak to the Lord. I had the audacity to be this bold to address you. What nerve do I have? But please don't consume me, although I am but dust and ashes. Do you speak this way of a creature? Or do you speak of this way of God, saying, I'm unworthy to stand before your presence, unworthy, right, to confront you, and unworthy to detain you. But please have mercy on me. Do not consume me. Suppose the 50 righteous are lacking 5. Will you destroy the whole city because of 5? And he said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. Then he spoke to him yet again and said, suppose 40 are there found there. And he said, I will not do it on account of 40. Then he said, oh, may the Lord not be angry. I know I'm pressing my luck. I know I may be getting carried away and I may get you angry, but please let me speak. Suppose 30 are found there. Suppose 30 are found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, now, behold, I have ventured. I dared to muster up the courage to speak to the Lord, Adonai. Suppose 20 are found there. He said, I will not destroy an account of 20. Then he said, oh, may the Lord not be angry. Please don't consume me. I know I'm pressing my luck and I may be getting you angry, but please, Lord, please put up with me because it's not about me. And I shall speak only this once. Suppose 10 are found there. And he said, I will not destroy it on account of 10. Now, what happens? And as soon as he had finished speaking to Abraham, Yahweh departed. So Yahweh was standing on earth as a man, ate human food, and he was in Canaan. And then he finished talking to Abraham. And where was his next stop? In case you missed it.
Sodom.
Yahweh said, the outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great. I will go down and see. So then, after you left Abraham, is he going to remain on that location where Abraham stood? Or is he going to go to another place?
He's going another place.
But now this is the burial. That Yahweh, who was appearing as a man who ate human food, he went down to what location? He went down where?
Sodom.
So he was now in Sodom as a man, right?
Right.
But then who's this Yahweh who's in heaven still?
That would be the Father.
There's your Trinity. Now, remember Genesis 18, we just established 3 men appeared, right?
Right.
One of them was Yahweh appearing as a man, correct?
Correct.
And he had a body that was so human, so tangible. If you touch it, it felt like an actual physical body of flesh. And he ate food, right?
Right.
But he didn't become flesh. He didn't become a man, right?
Right.
All right. Now, here's how you're going to see how God already prepared you for Jesus, become God in the flesh. Because if God here is appearing as a man and speaking as a man with limitations, though he's not actually human, but he's speaking as a man with limitations, then when God actually becomes human, takes on an actual human nature, becomes flesh, is born as a human male baby, and becomes a true, genuine human, then should we be surprised that when he does actually become human, he's going to experience human limitations? Because here, appearing as a man without becoming an actual man, he is experiencing or manifesting human limitations. And yet he didn't become man, right?
Right.
Because here's where God prepares you for Christ, that when he does become flesh, he will be a true human with a true human nature, true physical body, and true human limitations, without sin, without ceasing to be God. Now watch this. So Yahweh said, the outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is exceedingly great. Now watch. I will go down now and see whether they have done entirely according to its outcry, which has come to me, and if not, I will know. Shock. God is speaking as a man who doesn't know everything and has to go down and verify it for himself. Wait, why is God talking this way? Wait, notice he goes, the outcry, what they've told me about Sodom and Gomorrah is great. Their sins are grievous. However, I will go down now and see, discern for myself whether they have done according to the outcry. What people have said about them is true. And if not, then I'll know. Now, if God, who hasn't become man, who hasn't become flesh, and truly become human and experiencing genuine human limitations, can speak this way when just appearing as a man, appearing with a human body as a man, eating human food, and speaking as a man would, that he has to go to a place and see it for himself. Why would you be shocked that Jesus, who then becomes man, who's God in the flesh, would experience genuine human limitations?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if Yahweh can still be God and yet speak with human limitations, though he didn't become human, he didn't become flesh, he appeared as a human with a human form, human body, and in that human form ate food, and in that human form doing things that humans do, right? Human activities, going from place to place, going to a place to see it for himself, and yet he didn't become human. Why would you be shocked that when Jesus does become human, then he'd experience such genuine human limitations? All I'm showing is
Right.
he's speaking as a man, right?
Yep.
So, like a man who has to go from place to place, like a man who shouldn't just go by what he hears others say, but verify it for himself and not go by hearsay. So, God is showing you what a perfect man does. The perfect man doesn't simply go by hearsay. The perfect man will then discern, determine, and judge and check out whatever is said about another and not simply go by hearsay.
Right.
So here you're being taught a bigger and more important lesson. God doesn't simply rush to judgment and punish people unjustly solely because of what people say. God himself will punish you or acquit you because he knows what you do and he sees what you do and will pay you accordingly. Therefore, we maggots should not rush to judgment and condemn someone because someone told us something about an individual. We need to verify it for ourselves because that's what
Amen.
honest, righteous men do. So this is your precursor to incarnation. So you ask these heretics, hold on. Yahweh here is not an actual human being. He didn't become human. He didn't take on a human nature. He didn't become flesh, but he's appearing as a man like angels do because God and angels have the ability to appear in various forms. Angels can appear as men, women, you name it. So can God. So appearing as men, they manifest bodies that are so tangible. You touch them, it looks like an actual body. And in those forms, without being actually human by nature, they eat human food. And in those forms, they walk from place to place like men do. Then if God, who simply appears as a man, can then speak as a man with limitations, Why would it shock you then when he becomes a man, he would truly experience genuine human limitations without ceasing to be God? So God is preparing you what to expect when he becomes flesh.